The French were the first to occupy the bridge, and they discovered how the Germans wanted to destroy it. In response, they filled these detonation chambers with concrete, which, ironically, made the bridge's foundation stronger. It would be easy to forget that the Ludendorff Bridge was built for war if a civilian lived in Bonn and Remagen between 1919 and 1938. Karl Wehner's elegant, symmetrical, yet simplistic design made the Ludendorff Bridge a beautiful sight for anyone living in or visiting the surrounding area. It had 2 railway lines, and people could come to and fro, enjoying the beautiful German scenery and the Rhine itself. Foreigners became easier to transport over the Rhine, and the bridge significantly improved the economies of both the eastern and western towns. Come see the Ludendorff Bridge, a marvel of German engineering and artistry. The 2 railways were constantly in use carrying passengers to and from, and below the bridge, small yachts brought tourists, locals, and lovers, all in awe of the visual splendor of the area and the engineering marvel which stood above them. But for German generals and strategists, the Ludendorff Bridge always retained its true purpose. By 1938, Nazi Germany was gearing up for a war, and German engineers raced to the Ludendorff Bridge to refix proper explosives in the case of an invasion. On the eastern banks stood a deep, dark tunnel. Here, control switches to detonate the bridge were laid, and the tunnel formed a natural bunker against Allied air raids. However, in 1938, air raids seemed so far away, and even as the Second World War began and the years ticked by, Hermann Goering said, "If a bomb falls on Berlin, you can call me Herr Mayer." Most of Germany's cities had been bombed into oblivion. In the fall of 1944, the German army on the Western Front was in full retreat, as troops and civilians alike sought a way to retreat into the heart of Germany. The Ludendorff Bridge became a paramount in transporting supplies across the Rhine and refugees and wounded soldiers back to apparent safety. This fact was not lost on Allied reconnaissance. American bombers had begun bombing Bonn and Remagen in response to the large numbers of retreating German soldiers in that sector. The Germans were obviously using the Ludendorff Bridge mainly for troop transport, thus its destruction became a necessity. The 9th U.S. Air Force conducted a series of daytime bomb runs on the railroad crossing at Düsseldorf, Cologne, Remagen, and Koblenz. The destruction was predominantly urban, and German engineers were quickly dispatched to the Ludendorff Bridge for repairs. It had taken a series of hits during these air raids. Still, it remained a beacon of hope for any German civilian or wounded soldier seeking safety on the eastern banks. On October 19, 1944, just days after the Mulheim Bridge went up in smoke in Cologne, the Ludendorff Bridge suffered its greatest wound thus far. American bombs created several holes in the bridge, leaving it impassable for 2 weeks. Yet despite the damage and the constant travel going east and west, the Ludendorff Bridge remained standing, almost stubbornly, in defiance of American bombs. Even as Americans approached the bridge in 1945 and
history lives on when we share it. If you enjoyed this journey into the past, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Your support helps keep these stories alive.